Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We are continuing with our special series discussing the case styled as Idaho versus Kohberger. And if you look on the docket, and there are instructions to this podcast description where you can retrieve items from the court docket, you will see that there were several filings on February 3rd, 2023. I would like to now discuss three of them. One was a notice of appearance by Shannon Gray on behalf of the family of Kaylee Concalves. She is one of the four victims, as you know, in this case. A second is a motion which is appealing or seeking clarification of the non-dissemination order. And a third is an affidavit of Mr. Gray and a memorandum of law in support of that motion. And a motion in legal proceedings is an application for an order. You can't just call up a judge and say, "Judge, I would like you to enter an order for this or for that." There needs to be a formal filing in the form of a motion. The other side might respond in opposition, or there may be a stipulation based on that motion where the parties are asking the court, "Hey, we agree to what's being asked for, please enter an order." And then the court will then either grant, deny, or do something different in the form of an order. That is an official act of the court. So here Mr. Gray is referencing the non-dissemination order, and he's expressing some concerns because it appears to now apply to his clients as well as to him. If you recall, we reviewed the amended non-dissemination order that was entered by Judge Marshall. In this case, there were two. The first was the non-dissemination order, and the second, the amended one, basically overtook and became the order that was then applicable from thereafter. So shortly thereafter, we see these filings from Mr. Gray, whose name should be familiar to those of you that have followed this case. The Concalves family, in my opinion, have been the most vocal and the most visible, giving more interviews from almost the beginning of the case and continuing through the time before Mr. Kohberger's arrest and then afterwards. Mr. Gray became their attorney, their private attorney, in December 2022. And from my research, they met, Mr. Gray and the Concalves family met down at the Moscow Police Department. They had some concerns. This was their child. No one had been arrested at that time for her murder. And quite frankly, anyone horribly in those shoes would want to know what was going on. So Mr. Gray did accompany the family for that meeting. There's at least one article that I've seen where Mr. Gray is quoted in before Mr. Kohberger's arrest. And at one of the hearings, he conducted a mini press conference, if you will. He spoke to the press on the steps of the courthouse with the family around him, and he said a few words at that time following a hearing in January 2023. So this is all of the background leading up to this filing, and he is expressing some concern that he is gagged, that his clients are gagged. And he also talks about a Zoom call that occurred between some of the witnesses, some of the victims' families, their attorneys, and the prosecutor and the defense, which is not referenced at all anywhere in the docket, where Mr. Gray states that he expressed some concerns to Judge Marshall about the non-dissemination order and some other things that had occurred. So again, this proceeding is not referenced anywhere on the docket, but Mr. Gray is stating in this filing of the 3rd of February 2023 that such a proceeding did happen in January. At this point, the motion is filed with the court. There will be some responses, and ultimately, Mr. Gray will appear before the court, only it won't be before Judge Marshall. It will be with the subsequent judge, who is now presiding over this case and has been since the summer of 2022. This will conclude our analysis of this matter. Please join us again for our next episode in the series. Thank you.